Our topic today is going to be wisdom and a specific subset of wisdom, which is learning how to listen to yourself and trust yourself, and how we've been almost indoctrinated to believe that we should listen to and trust everybody but ourselves. So we're offering this as a counterbalance to that. And actually, the more women who really go inside, listen to themselves, trust that still quiet voice inside you, however that speaks to you, the more effective we're going to be out in the world. So I'm going to hand over to Kieran briefly, who's going to tell us a bit more about what you'll be getting from today.
Thank you, Liz. Great intro. Lovely to see everyone. And thank you for making the time to be here. We want to make sure that the time that you're investing to be here, you're able to take something away. So we'd love for you to leave feeling more resourceful and energized, and hopefully giving you some practical tools that you can apply immediately to help you to feel more inspired, to feel more connected in a way that's purposeful for you, and to feel more energized. So Liz, I'm going to pass to you to now introduce us to the theme of wisdom.
Great. Thank you very much. So, what is wisdom? I think it's fair to say it almost feels like wisdom's gone a bit out of fashion at the moment. There seems to be precious little of it in the world at the moment. And yet, when we were devising our flagship 2-day women's leadership program, we picked Athena as our theme for the program, and she represents wisdom and courage. I think two qualities that we definitely need more of in the world at the moment. And I found myself wanting to go back and think, well, what actually is wisdom? And in some ways, it can feel like almost like quite an old-fashioned quality at the moment, where everything that is valued at the moment is fast and speedy and almost quite sort of adversarial. And I really like this definition, which I think actually came from Wikipedia, but the ability to apply knowledge, experience, and good judgment to navigate life's complexities. And that if we have wisdom, we have better judgment. And it's one of those intangible qualities that we probably spend most of our lives trying to cultivate good judgment. And we know it when we have it, and we see it in others when other people have it. That unmeasurable, unquantifiable, yet absolute gold dust. And for those of us perhaps who work in any sort of service industry or as advisors, we know that ultimately that's what our clients are paying us for. It's our judgment. How can we cultivate that in a more conscious and direct way, rather than just sort of hoping it'll be a natural byproduct of our day-to-day activities? And about navigating life's complexities, and boy, is life complex at the moment. So this quality of discernment, of being able to plot an elegant and smooth path through all the competing pressures. And this is to be perhaps slightly distinguished, I wouldn't say contrasted, but distinguished from intelligence, which is perhaps more about helping us solve problems and think logically, also really useful skills, but not enough on their own, necessary, but not sufficient to be a fully rounded leader. So wisdom goes beyond by encouraging us to embrace human nature, a deep understanding of what it means to be human, moral principles, ethical principles, and also thinking about the long-term effects of our actions. And what we're going to be looking at today is what we think of as one subset of how do you get to wisdom. We all want to get there. And one of the things that we would say is a subset is the ability to really listen to yourself and to prioritize that. And that's both understanding how does your wisdom speak to you? And for everybody, it will be slightly different. You'll have your own particular ways that your inner guidance, if you want to call that, speaks to you. So it's about knowing that. And then it's about prioritizing, paying attention to it. And then finally, it's about them being willing to act on what you hear, rather than let yourself be talked out of it, dismiss it, all of those sorts of things. So we're going to be practicing today, looking at how does your wisdom speak to you? And we're going to be learning a very specific technique to listen to yourself more effectively. So that's what we'll be covering today. So perhaps before we go into the next slide, I want to ask you a question. I'd like you to think about, just call to mind something that you have going on in your life at the moment that perhaps feels a bit knotty. There isn't an obvious answer. It's something that you're grappling with. You can't just do a simple list of pros and cons, that you would really welcome having some more about. So take a moment to just think about what that is. You're not going to have to share the substance of it, but it would be much more effective if you've got something live in mind as we go through the session today. And it may be something where you feel a conflict between what your head says and then what your heart is telling you. And just notice, what does it bring up for you when you have this sense of grappling with something? What responses does it make you feel? Uncertain? Does it make you feel anxious? Yeah, just notice what that does for you when you have something that you're grappling with. Okay. So we're all familiar with the whole left brain, right brain thing. In some ways, a bit of an old chestnut. And yet, as we were preparing for this session, it seemed that it was particularly relevant, because I think what we have in the world at the moment, certainly in the organizational business world, is this tyranny of the left brain. It's all about the data. It's all about analysis. It's all about reasoning to the exclusion of everything else. It's like we have thinking that is untethered from feeling, empathy, humanity, and seeing the big picture. We have organizations that are very, very data run, and perhaps very much run on the figures as well. It's all about the financials and profit rather than the bigger impact. So we know that that doesn't work. And we all know those situations where, yes, we could do our pros and cons, our analysis, but somehow that logical analysis isn't really yielding a sense of certainty. There's something else that's going on that we need to give some attention to as well. On the other hand, we have, and as I think Einstein said, the rational brain is a faithful servant, but a poor master. The intuitive mind, he was a great fan of. So we have our right brain wisdom, which it was much more about feeling, about empathy, about pattern recognition, being able to see the big picture, and also about intuitive leaps. And this is a really key concept we want to talk about, intuition, which is a very particular way of knowing. And again, I looked up the definition of intuition, and it talks about a sense of insight that almost bypasses the rational, logical, step-by-step brain. So it's when the Buddhists talk about a choiceless choice, when you just know it's the right thing to do, even if it doesn't necessarily seem very logical. So the question is, how do we, and I think at the moment, a lot of us probably giving enough attention to our right brain thinking, and how we integrate the two. So it's not a fight between one or the other. It's not logic or feeling. It's not male or female. It's not all of these polarities that we're encouraged to think about at the moment in modern society, that actually it's how we knit the two together. And yet I think the one that is being neglected at the moment is often the intuitive part and the listening to ourselves. So this is what we're going to be looking at today. So perhaps before we move on to the next one, it'd be really good to hear from you. How does your intuition speak to you? What are some of the ways that you get that sense of inner knowing? For some people, it literally is a gut feeling. For others, it might be a certain a dream or a message that you get from your environment. It would be great to hear what some of your intuitive ways of listening to yourself are.
Something that I use a lot, Liz, is
Yes.
especially in conversations with my friends, much to their frustration perhaps, is the question, what do you think, or what do you think you should do? So if someone is coming to me for some advice or wisdom, I will very much turn it back around to them to say, what do you think you should do? And to try and really invite their gut feeling, or even that question in itself is a golden gem, really. What's your gut feeling? And it works with all ages, all backgrounds. It works on anyone. What's your gut feeling?
Absolutely. Yes. And I see Margaret was saying, if it shows up in your body, you feel it. Or Jane, feels like your antennae are going up. That sounds interesting. Yeah. My invitation to you is to get very specific about precisely how you notice that. Is it a felt sense? Is it emotion? Is it a different quality of thinking? So the more we know what we're listening out for, the more we're tuned into that radio station. So Claire, it's in the volume of repetition within discussions for me when you can't let go of something. So it sounds right. That's a sign then. Yeah. And then particularly if it's something that doesn't necessarily seem the most logical or rational choice. Yeah, helping people realize that it's probably not the end of the world can be really helpful as well. Yeah. Okay. Let's have a look then at some of the ways that intuition can speak to us. So, what I've observed, and I've sort of been studying this for many years, and I'll fess up to being somebody who finds making decisions pretty excruciating on my own. I'm very good at helping other people make decisions, but for myself, I mean, I drive my family and friends mad, you know. So I've actually spent quite a lot of time really trying to think about, well, how do I get that sense of certainty of inner knowing where I can feel comfortable enough with a decision to follow it? And I think they fall into a number of different categories. I think one can be the quality of your thoughts. And I think for me, often it's a hearing a thought that rather than lots of drama and you should do this or you should do that, or quite sort of fear driven, it's just a very quiet thought that just pops into my head fully formed. So a different quality of thought is something I pay attention to. Obviously, sometimes in dreams, you know, is the unconscious having a conversation with us or our system talking to itself. So I think dreams are definitely worth paying attention to. Sometimes in the surroundings, often things that come to me in threes, something I'll pay attention to. Three separate people who don't know each other will recommend something for me. I think, oh, that's something to pay attention to. And then finally, and we've touched on this already, the body, working with the body. And that's what we're going to focus on today, because this is often something that we can hone better. Kieran, how do you notice your intuition speaking to you?
I was thinking about surroundings, Liz, because I think some of my most kind of wise decisions happen when I'm in the shower or taking a walk, when you can really turn off those distractions like you talked about earlier. And actually your voice, your inner voice feels a lot louder when you've quietened down some of those surroundings. So that for me really stands out. And dreams, actually. I think, again, a lot of those things that you ponder about, some of those decisions get made. You don't have control of your thoughts, like you're dreaming about it. And so again, that really stands out for me.
Yeah, brilliant. So what we're going to do now is we're going to share a very specific exercise with you that we found incredibly helpful in terms of getting some input and some wise guidance about a decision or a topic that you're grappling with using the body. And Kieran and I are going to demonstrate this, and then you're going to have a chance to practice it yourself and then share what that was like. So, Kieran, I'd like you to bring to mind something that you're grappling with at the moment in your life, would like some guidance with. Great. So I can see that you've got something. And just say, I have no idea what Kieran is thinking about, and this is totally fresh in the moment. So first of all, I'd like you to let yourself go into perhaps some of the stress of that. Just feel what that's like and notice what your breathing's like. If you allow yourself to go into that, notice what effect it has on your posture. Notice what the shape of your thoughts are and what emotions come up. Perhaps if you can just give a quick thumbnail of what you notice when you allow yourself to feel pressured by that topic.
Yeah. Okay. So I feel like I can hear and feel my heartbeat. My legs are crossed and my hands are currently like this. Yeah. Yeah.
So lots of clenching up and contracting, which is a very, very typical stress response. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a very quick centering practice, which those of you before will be familiar with, others will be new. So uncross your legs, put your feet flat on the ground, feel your sitting bones on your chair, relax your shoulders. Now bring your attention to your spine. I'm going to invite you to take a breath in, breathe up your spine. Imagine the breath going up your spine. And then exhale and imagine the breath going down the front of your body. Once again, breathing in, up your spine, uplift, and exhale. Think of someone that makes you smile. And as you exhale, let that smile come to your face, instantly creating oxytocin. And now stretch your arms beside you, wiggle your fingers, Just enjoy that feeling of stretching and expansion. Look around the space that you're in and imagine your presence radiating out into the space. Okay. So
Mhm.
you've now centered yourself. So what I want you to do is now bring to mind again the particular dilemma, challenge that you have. Bring it to mind. And I'm going to invite you to focus on your head. So go to probably to your forehead. Place your attention in your head as you contemplate this particular challenge.
Okay.
And notice what comes up in terms of thoughts,
Mm.
emotions, bodily sensations.
Mm.
If you'd like to share.
Yeah. So I'm noticing this word almost coming to mind, or I can hear it, which is safety.
Yeah.
It's also, I'm quite visual, but it's giving me this vision of lots of road safety signs, lanes,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Right.
It feels bumpy. So I'm thinking about lots of bumps in the road as well. Maybe that's why that kind of road visual is really coming to my mind right now. But yeah, safety. I'm thinking about that exclamation mark, right? The big yellow sign.
Okay. Okay. So it
Mm.
sounds like there's a certain degree of fear, anxiety there.
Mm. Mm.
I'd like to let that go. And I'd like you to drop into your heart. So the space
Okay.
in the center of your chest. Put your attention there. Let go of your head. Just really rest into your heart. And now contemplate that question from the space of your heart and notice. Notice.
Yeah. Well, I can feel my cheeks actually. Talk about my heart. I can feel my cheeks because I'm smiling as I'm thinking about what I feel. It feels like there's lots of heartbeats because I'm feeling supported.
Mhm.
There's lots of heart in this decision that I need to make. And I'm really backing myself. It
Yeah.
feels like the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes me feel excited and positive and happy.
Mm. Wow. What a different quality to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now I'm going to invite you to drop down into your gut,
Mm-hmm.
abdomen, so below the tummy button, that area. If it helps to put your hands there, so you really settle down there. And often as women, we tend not to feel comfortable going there, but just let yourself, just everything settle down into your gut. And the martial arts call this your hara or your core. So drop down here. And now, once again, contemplate that particular challenge.
Okay. So again, the message almost coming from my gut is just do it. And if I go back to that kind of car metaphor, if you like, it's
Yeah.
almost me pressing that accelerator. Again, lots of passion, lots of fire in my belly. There's a bit of a nervous feeling, but I wouldn't say it's nervous. It's more of an excitement, a nervous excitement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really interesting, actually. There's a lot of contrast going on, especially from here to kind of over here.
Yes. 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 So interesting. So a lot of fear, concern and
Mm.
fear about risk in your head, but actually when you come to your heart and your gut, you get a lot of positive encouragement about the
Yeah.
direction to go in.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I mentioned lanes, when I was talking about my mind, I guess the word actually to just tap into that a bit more deeply is probably parameters.
Right.
Yeah, borders, um,
Yes. Yes.
crossing the line. It's that sort of message that's really coming to mind versus the just do it and hey, I'm backing myself.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thanks very much for listening so attentively. What we'd like to do now is give you each an opportunity to practice this for yourself. We thought it would be useful for you to see somebody else go through it first. So, what we're going to invite you to do is call to mind either that dilemma that you thought of at the beginning, or if something else feels even more pressing, just call something to mind, something where that's causing you some degree of perhaps stress or concern, and you would like some wisdom about. And let yourself feel yourself into that and allow yourself to feel the stress of it for a moment, just for a moment, and notice how that shows up in your body. So for some of you, that might be a contraction, tightening of the breath, slumped posture. Notice Notice how it affects you somatically and emotionally. So just taking a moment to register that. Now, let that go. We're not going to dwell there any longer than we need to. So we're doing a quick centering practice. So uncross your legs if they're crossed, put your feet on the ground, put your sitting bones on the chair. Put your attention on your spine, bring your attention to your breath. Take a breath in and imagine the breath going up your spine. Feel yourself lengthening, and then exhale. Sigh the breath out and imagine it going down the front of your body. Nice long exhale. And then once again, breathing in, uplift, and exhale. And as you sigh out, think of someone that makes you smile and let that smile come to your face. Exhaling out. And as soon as we smile, we create oxytocin, which is the bonding and connection hormone. Then stretch your arms beside you, wiggle your fingers, enjoy that feeling of extension, counteracts the sense of contraction. And just look around the space that you're in and imagine your presence and awareness radiating out into the space around you in all directions. So you're filling the space around you. Okay. And immediately notice how that makes you feel. Now, bring that issue to mind again, and bring your attention to your head. From this place, contemplate that challenge and notice what you notice. So notice the type of thoughts, not just the content of the thoughts, but the shape of them. Are they short and spiky? Are they more elongated? Shape of your thoughts. Notice what happens with your breathing. Yeah, and see what this part of your being has to say to you about this challenge. Take a moment to register that. For most of us, this is probably where we hang out most of the time. Now, having registered that, I'm going to invite you to drop down into your heart center, middle of your chest. If it helps to put your hands there, and tune into this part of your system and contemplate that question from your heart and see what your heart has to say to you. Notice not only what it says to you, but also what language does it use. Maybe very different, it may be much more emotional, non-verbal. So how does your heart speak to you? What's its language? And having registered that, now drop down into your abdomen, your center. Your hands there. Give yourself permission to really settle deep down into your base, your abdomen, your pelvis, your whole pelvic area. And contemplate the question from this place. Again, with a completely open receptivity, notice what this part of your system wants to communicate to you. And notice what it speaks. When you're ready, let's come back saying thank you to those three parts of your system. Anything particular that you noticed from that about your own process of listening to yourself? There's so much pressure, I think, in modern organizational life to be really quick and speedy and decisive, and actually sometimes just taking that time to sleep on it and sit with it pays dividends in the long run because you get better quality outcomes. And that it doesn't take long, actually, to calm your nervous system. I mean, that was relatively quick. It's more about having that commitment to doing it. Okay. So, Etrit, yes, the voice of my heart was softer than the one of my head. My belly refused to speak up, wondering what that means. Interesting. Yes. So I would say perhaps visit your belly more often and give it, maybe take you a while to learn how it speaks to you. Maybe it's, feeling neglected. Yes. And often, yes, I think the heart is softer than the head. We tend to privilege the head.
And thank you for being here today, because you've all given yourselves the time to show up for yourselves, to reflect, and for us to connect and create this space and hold it for each other. And it's really important for me to talk about our other offerings, and mainly the Athena Leadership Intensive Programme. And because that is very much the focus, right? You coming along to that and giving yourself the time to have those reflections and to hopefully unlock more of those superpowers that we all have within us, and to really find that wisdom. And of course, your purpose, power, and presence. So I'd just like to take the next couple of minutes to talk to you about the programme and some of the testimonies. And I know a couple of kind of those of you that are on the call today have also been on the programme. Jane, I can see you sort of nodding at me. You were on our last wave of the programme. So it's great to have you here and reconnecting with us. So in terms of the programme and what you can take away, we really see that women come along to this programme and they take away that belief in themselves, that they are enough, that they're able to take forward some of the tools and carry on with the things that perhaps that have been blocking them, right? That they want to do, but they've not had that courage or that wisdom to go forth and do it. They're able to speak with clarity and confidence and really step into their power and hopefully be more visible and know how to show up for themselves. Making time for what's really important. Lindsay, I know you talked earlier about so many competing demands. So how are you able to really make time for what's important and lead with a renewed sense of purpose? We'd like you to feel embodied and grounded in your presence that others feel. So how are you noticing that about yourself and your own presence? And hopefully feeling empowered to grasp the opportunity today rather than always pulling it back to tomorrow. And how are you prioritising your time? And there were a couple of testimonials just on the side there. So Fiona shared that she came away with a toolkit of leadership approaches, but more importantly for her, a massive boost in self-confidence and belief and strategies for centering herself. So again, we utilise a lot of that leadership embodiment throughout the programme. It's a golden thread. So we really work with your leadership, how you're showing up, and your whole body. Okay, so really being able to listen to all parts of your body. So our next Leadership Intensive Athena programme is coming up. It's in November, so Monday the 24th and Tuesday the 25th of November. It will be facilitated by myself and Liz in central London. We would love to see you there. Hopefully you're able to sign up. We do have an offer for you, and you'll get an email with a little bit more information on how you can leverage that offer and sign up. But actually, if this is not for you, and if you can't make this day, please recommend it to someone that you know, somebody in your network, so that we can really get that message out to all women who would like to take part in showing up for themselves and really realigning or aligning with their purpose, power, presence. That's our offer to you. And I'll pass over to Liz just to close for today's session.
Thank you, Kieran. Yes, and I think Claire, you're happy to share a few words about being a participant on the programme.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I think I have often found it really difficult to describe. And you did an absolutely brilliant job there, Kieran. But it is difficult to describe, but I came away, it's something that I often go back to. And these webinars are a real point of contact back into it and a reminder. And I think it's really rare sometimes to take the space for ourselves and dig into what we think about something and what we want to do. And actually it provided the space to do that, which was really valuable and a really safe space. I think that for me was something very important. It put me quite far out of my comfort zone and I got through it and I have taken a lot from it. And it might have been really slow burn, having made quite a significant decision in recent weeks. I know that started in November last year, and I have a lot to thank for having spent those 2 days with that group of women.
Yeah,
And with Liz and I've forgotten Tracy, who facilitated, but just generally it was great, really great.
Thank you, Claire.
Thank you, Claire. And Jane, do you have anything you'd like to add? I know you.
Yes, yes. That really resonates with me because I keep coming back to some of the lessons and principles. And I was doing a talk the other week. I was doing something on my approach to Athena Swan work in the University of Leeds. And so Athena Swan also utilizes the goddess Athena because it's an initiative around gender equity in universities. So I did this presentation and I thought, I don't just want to, I don't know, grind through the action plan and facts and figures. And what I did was talking about more of a general approach to leadership. And I came up with the heart and backbone metaphor, which I first encountered during the Athena leadership course. So yes. And I got a lot of positive feedback from people at the event saying how inspirational and helpful they found it. So absolutely, it's given me so much food for thought.
Thank you very much. That's wonderful to hear. So we're nearly at the hour. Thank you so much, everybody, for turning up and for being so present and participating so attentively. And I always find these sessions are so nourishing for me, really, because for both of us as a team, because we're doing something here just by the act of coming together and setting this intention and being willing to invest in wisdom and cultivating that in ourselves. That's, as I say, better to light a candle than curse the darkness. And it's pretty easy to want to curse the darkness at the moment with everything that's going on in the world. But, we are here lighting a candle and spreading that light. So thank you very much, everybody. And our next one will be on the 28th of October at 4 p.m. So you'll get, as usual, an email invite probably about a week beforehand. But if you want to just note that in your diary now to protect the time. And please feel free to bring colleagues, friends, people in your network. We really want as many women as possible to experience this work and be part of our community. So thank you very much, everyone. And thank you, Kiran, co-host. Great teamwork. So lovely doing this with you. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. It's great to see you all.